like that part.
You like that part?
Yep.
It's a mythical, despicable.
Despicable. I mean, dude, it's got hands like a coon. What do you expect?
Yeah, it didn't even look like the pit. I mean, but
Yeah.
what's that?
Jeez. All right, mic's on. Check, 1, 2.
Yeah, look at that.
Check,
Look.
test.
How now, brown cow?
We're on.
All
We're
right.
on. Everything's on.
That is not what.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't think
Yeah.
that's it. That's not it.
Just a new pet.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back. We are the Cast and Blast crew. Ben's over here behind the computer screen. He's producing.
What's up, guys?
I'm Jimmy.
My name is Robert. Thanks for coming on for the Cast and Blast podcast, and you are listening to us loud and proud from Killeen, Texas.
That's right.
Ish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
We're
tomato,
like-
tomato.
It's like turf wars. Like, this ain't Killeen, this is Harker High.
Yeah.
We're Harker High.
I'm more Nolanville.
Yeah.
Depends what high school you went to, right?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hey, so check it out, everyone. We hope everyone's having a good day, evening, morning, whatever time you might be watching this. So last week, hopefully you enjoyed the show last week. We had
Gabe Guerrero.
Gabe was his name, Gabe Guerrero last week. So we talked about Bigfoot. Gabe is a Bigfoot investigator with South Texas Bigfoot Investigations, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, South Texas Bigfoot Investigations. So he filled us in on a lot of stuff, right? We've been going down this rabbit hole, this journey of some cryptids, mainly sticking to Bigfoot. We kind of feel like Bigfoot he's the big guy out there. And we're going to continue with that today and just kind of talk about it, maybe some others, wrap it up, tell you some of our thoughts and what we've kind of concluded after talking to Gabe, other Bigfoot enthusiasts, and just our experiences in ourselves. Because, you know, you've probably had weird experiences. We've had weird experiences, and we'll get out there and we'll talk to them. Yeah, but based off that, how do y'all feel like the conversation with Gabe went? Was, you know, I felt like he dove in and gave us what he had.
Yeah, he dug pretty deep, man. And I just, after listening to him and the stories, and like I said, you know, everybody, I looked at Bigfoot as, oh, you know, it's cool, it's there, it's the mythical creature or whatever you want to call it, the cryptid, and
A legend.
the legend, yeah. So, you know, I would always be used to hearing him and all the sightings up in the northern part of the states and, you know, certain secluded areas and whatnot. And to hear from him and his expanded map of investigation and so much of it down South Texas at that, it kind of opened up my eyes like, man, you know, these sightings are everywhere, and it's pretty unique because the same sighting is the way the people explain it, it's not the same story, it's different scenarios. So kind of leads to think that, you know, maybe he is out there.
It could be. I mean, but, you know, if there's that many people that have seen or experienced some type of Bigfoot, Sasquatch experience, are they all lying? I don't know, but
I don't know, Jimmy. Are you lying?
I will tell you. Okay, so
This is the deal, bro.
So for all the viewers out there, you know, you guys already got to see Gabe and a lot of his stuff, and you know, and we've all seen pictures and we've seen everything that people have sent in, and we want to thank you guys for being a part of it. But we have our very own investigator here on the Cast and Blast podcast. This gentleman has laid his own working both eyes. Well, maybe not now because, you know, you struggle with your phone a little bit sometimes. But
that is true.
Back at this time, we knew your eyes were pretty keen. You were sharp.
Yeah, I was a young strapping lad back in those days. Not so much anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did see something. So I'm in that group of people that I'm saying, are we lying? Or did we just see something that was different than what we thought?
Well, you just said a keyword. You said we. Now, if you said, Robert, I went out there the other day and I was putting corn into the feeders and whatnot, and I saw this, you know, mouse with whatever fangs coming out of it, but you said we. So elaborate on that.
I got a mouse in my pocket.
Was there
Ratatouille
anyone
went
else?
with you?
No, when I'm saying we, I'm saying collectively as
A group of people who have had sightings?
Yeah, who has had some type of sighting experience, heard, seen, you know, whatever the case is.
So I know you're going to get into your story, and I want to hear it, and I want the audience to hear it, most importantly. But let's go ahead and throw out the truth or myth, right? Here we go. I'm gonna put the camera on you guys, and I want to see your reaction.
Is this like truth or dare?
No. Let's just kind of go through it.
Okay.
So, what makes it a myth, in your opinion?
The myth, for me, what makes it the myth is nobody has said
Lack of evidence.
Here
right?
he
No
is.
hardcore
Lack of
yeah.
evidence.
Perfect.
A lot of these sightings have been found from many years ago. They're using audio, they're using, cameras, they're using game cameras, they're using thermals. Thermals have come a long way in the last couple of years, which is something we're pretty fond of.
What's
And
your
trail
experience with cameras, game cameras, trail cameras, even thermals? Let's talk about what we capture in these devices.
Well, yeah, okay. I want to wrap back around to where you say what makes it a myth, though. So
Yes.
I'm saying that don't let me forget because I'll forget.
Okay.
Okay.
So experience with trail cameras.
Well, let's go back to that question. What makes it a myth? We're gonna cover this. So let's just dive in, man.
I'm going to
I'm
going to answer this question with the question.
All right, let's go for it.
Do you believe in angels?
Whew.
Whoa, he laid it on thick, man. That's a shoe. We're only a few minutes into this podcast. You want to?
Okay. Yeah, I do.
Have you ever seen one?
No, but
But
so there is a connection to orbs.
right,
But and orbs have been connected to what?
Bigfoot,
Yep.
Why?
angels.
Okay.
No,
then
I don't know.
I'll take
Bigfoot's
that.
an angel.
I'll take that, dude. The point I'm trying to make by trying to bring up myth or truth, right, is
How do you bust that myth without hard
Yes.
evidence? But
and it's
Yeah.
kind of like faith in religion, right?
Yeah.
I have never seen.
What is faith?
Yes, it's a belief.
It's a belief, right?
And it's my beliefs based on how I interpret what I believe, right?
Based off what you experienced, you've seen.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So I have my faith. I have my belief. It may not be the same as your faith and your belief, but does that make one wrong or the other one right?
No, it doesn't. And
No.
that's the exact point that I was going to make.
I love it.
I also want to make a point. I am not comparing Bigfoot to religion.
I 100% understand, but
but
you did used it
that's-
as an analogy, and that's
it's-
great.
It's an analogy only. So anybody that's super religious, don't bash us saying we're comparing Bigfoot to religion or angels or God, because that's not what we're doing.
But you don't have to have something tangible to call it real.
Right. If you have faith, which is a belief into something, you will believe that it's true. On Bigfoot, even though I have seen and experienced something, I'm still not a hard believer because of, Robert was saying.
So you have seen something, huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think we mentioned it in the Gabe video.
Yeah.
We
But-
mentioned it, man, but
we didn't say it.
Let me circle back. So, guys, we recorded a great episode with Gabe as a guest.
Moving for a little bit. So, like I said, that big one, that 9-footer, all I could see was the edges of the hair, and it was big.
What
And,
color? What color was it? What was it? Dark or daytime?
No, this was like 4 o'clock in the morning.
4 o'clock in the morning.
It was like it was kind of like a misty morning, and
We had some other recordings in addition to that. And there has been some weird things happening
Oh,
to files.
boy, has there
I
not.
don't want to get into conspiracy, guys, but these guys can confirm that there has been some absolute weird things happening, and Gabe kind of led into that a little bit when we talked to him on the phone about files coming up missing.
But just not to you. It happened to 2 of the guys in this podcast. If it happened to one of them, I would say it's
Can we
computer.
talk about it?
Yeah.
Can we talk about it?
Can
All right.
we talk about it?
I think we
Let's-
should.
All right, here we go. So, we had an entire
Long episode.
long episode prepared for you guys.
Had to break it in parts.
Break it up in parts, editing, doing that. Everything saves. You guys are seeing my computer here. Everything's set up here, saved to the hard drive. We got backups. We got all kinds of stuff. If I wanted to right now and go back to the first season of this podcast and pull up a file, I could find it.
Yeah.
We lost some footage. We lost some video files.
Now refine that. We lost Bigfoot
Thank you.
files and footage, nothing else.
You're 100% right, and it's strange and unexplained. But dude, it's just you. I got nothing else to tie to it, and when you start talking about it, now I'm not starting any conspiracies, so don't go running to the press and saying, "Hey, I'm not saying the government stripped it. I'm not saying NASA got involved. I'm not saying Elon Musk is tapping into my stuff."
Oh, he's tapping.
Yeah.
He's tapping
Starlink has
something.
it, and you're not getting it back.
But dude, it went somewhere. Where'd it go?
It went to the cloud.
The
man, with
crazy part
everything.
is,
Oh, no. Mine is very different than that.
How is yours something very different than that?
Because on mine, you're taking the photo instantaneously, you're putting the photo out there on the line.
Is it online?
Yeah, I'm putting my photos out on the line, and I'm creating an exchange.
Yeah, that's Instagram.
But mine's more of a social sharing on the line that's happening.
Online.
Quick interjection. When you keep saying on the line, you do mean online.
Stuart, don't do that.
it started with me because you and I were sharing some footage.
Yeah.
And when I sent it, Messenger. In case you guys don't know, send your pictures, your videos through Messenger. Why? Because Messenger sends it in the best picture and audio.
Yeah.
Okay. So I told Ben, I was like, hey, I got some stuff. Boom, boom. I'm gonna send it to you. I stuck it in the deal, shot it off. As soon as I hit the send button, it said I only clicked on 2 videos because you can't, the larger files. So I clicked on it, and immediately, as soon as my finger left that screen, it just says unable to send. I thought, okay, what's going on here? So I backed out of the app.
Like the file was too big. Is that what it acted
That's kind of, normally it just says file's too big, and it gives you the option to squeeze it
to trim
down,
it,
cut
yeah.
it, and trim
Yeah.
it. So then I get out of the app, close it. I said, maybe I got too many apps open. We're all guilty of that. 30 apps. So I go in, close the apps. I
You say
go back.
30 or dirty?
Maybe a little bit of both.
Both.
30 dirty.
10% one, 90% the other.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I open up the Messenger again. It's gone. I mean, like, I never even tried to send him anything. And then I was like, well, shoot, I'll click on him again. I'll click on one this time. I'll send it. And then my screen, you know how you take your fingers on your phone and you do this and the screen will go up and down. And it just started doing that out of nowhere. I thought, oh, shoot, my phone's on the fritz again. So
I think Robert was trying to make his
I shut
phone
the-
squirt, bro.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. It was the wrong video. It thought it was another one. It was going up and down.
He's the wrong app.
So, again, I turned my phone off. I went back to the app. Nothing's there.
That's crazy.
Nothing's
That's
there.
crazy.
And I told Ben, did you receive anything? He said, my phone never peeped, never did anything.
All right. Okay, so that's
Dude.
that. My files are gone. Just the other day, someone tried to send me something, and they had problem. Were you in that group chat?
Yeah,
Yeah,
They
yeah.
were trying to send it to
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
for you, the followers, so he can kind of put them up on the podcast and
Yes.
y'all can kind of see some
Okay.
of the evidence.
And then to add to this, prior to this interview with Gabe Guerrero, he mentioned to us that's why he called in.
Well, he actually said, don't be afraid or don't be surprised if something
right.
like this happens.
Because he's had instances where
Him and a lot of other people that he's talked to, that he is friends and I guess peers with,
Right, in
other
the-
investigators.
His group his peers, group of investigators
Yeah.
that he shares with.
that's
yeah.
kind of weird, dude.
It's pretty, and we laughed about it when he told us that. Like, come on, bro.
It's kind of weird,
Really?
dude. So then when it happened to us, we told a small group of friends that we have, and they were like, nah, dude, you got to be kidding me. And here we are telling you.
You guys are part of the group now, so you're acting like them now. Yeah, nope. Here to tell you, it doesn't. I'm ready to.
Okay.
I like making videos. I like showing and telling, and it did not happen.
Okay, shake that off. We got that out of our system. We're going to go back to talking about Bigfoot so we can get some more video stripped from our stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, and then yesterday we were trying to do something else, and my internet crashed. We've been doing live videos for you guys.
Yeah.
Over and over. I don't know how many times. Never had any internet problems. And yesterday, my whole internet crashed. So, again, I don't want
But
to.
the Cast and Blast podcast crew are not giving up, so we are here to finish the job. So hang with us. Hit that like button and share it. Let some folks get a good laugh or get a good story out of it.
Yeah.
And,
You can laugh
help
with
out.
us, laugh at us. I don't care.
Either
Just,
way,
just
just
make
laugh.
sure you do it in the form of a subscribe button.
There you go.
If you're gonna laugh, at least like it,
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Jimmy,
sir.
we have danced around it enough. I want to hear your story. And I
Okay.
think the audience does too.
What you got?
Okay, here we go. And the bad thing is, this story.
No, it's not a
was-
bad thing. It was a good thing.
Well, well,
Or was it?
the story though was confirmed and
Yeah.
I guess
Corroborated, completely confirmed and corroborated by someone else who was with you.
One
Right.
of my cousins that was with me, and in the last video that got deleted somehow or came up missing, my cousin had called. I had told the story to Ben, Ben and Robert, and
We talked
Gabe.
a little bit about it on the first podcast. You
Yeah,
remember
on
that?
the first podcast,
First
yeah.
series of Strange and Unexplained.
What was great about it is for me, that was the first time meeting Cousin Elwood that night.
Yeah.
And you as well?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
That was, as
so-
a matter of fact, Jimmy, on that phone call when he called in, you had said about how long it had been since you guys had actually talked. So I have heard this story.
Mm-hmm.
I have heard about cousins that were with him. And then I went and dug a little further and started researching Oklahoma's registry for Bigfoot sightings. And when I did that, I found something had to be along the lines of the timeline. So I asked Jimmy, "Is like, what year was this, and what time, or
Yeah.
what, this and that?" And sure enough, Jimmy,
It was there.
he found it.
The story's
Yeah.
there.
The story's there. So somebody registered the sighting, and then
Your name was on the registry?
No, the name isn't, but it's just a quick synopsis of the story I'm about to tell.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's pretty neat how you told us the story. And we've talked about this before amongst us hunting lightly.
Well, most
But
of,
it's pretty weird how you pull this article up and it backdates to way before you even told us the story.
yeah,
How do you backdate an article? You can't.
right.
so I don't.
And completely oblivious to you had no idea that was even on the internet.
Right.
Right.
Right. I typically don't share this story with a lot of people. I'm about to send it all over the internet
All
now.
the
but-
thousands and
but-
thousands of followers we got.
Yeah,
Now
I'll
your
send it.
computer is going to
So-
get hacked.
So there'll be like 2 people that see this.
right.
And
I'm going to share this on the web, and all 2 of you will be hearing this for the first time.
and it's probably my wife and my dad, and they know the story already. But I don't really share the story a whole lot because a lot of time, it's kind of taboo. People be like, you're
Yeah.
dumb, whatever. But so this story, right?
Well, we know you're a little weird, but we like you that
I
way.
am. Everybody's a little. You can't be this close to Austin and not be weird.
Damn straight.
Facts.
You can't be. Yeah. So this story, it rolls way back to like 95, 96, 1995, 1996.
Pick up sticks.
Pick up sticks. So there was myself and a group of my cousins. Y'all have heard me talk before. I grew up way out in the middle of the country. We had nothing to do other than like hunt, fish, and just run rampant through the woods and do crazy things. Well, this particular night, if memory serves me right, it was in the fall, and we were going out to shoot coyotes. We were just going out spotlighting, shooting coyotes, armadillos, rabbits, just young kids being young kids.
Mm-hmm.
When I say young, we were all teenagers at the time. We had, most of us either had a driver's license or was about to. And we had a big property. My family had a big property, and we had decided to go out spotlight and shoot some animals, whatever. So we get out there, and we're having a good time. We're popping some armadillos and things like that. And we're in basically a big cattle field. There's some trees. It's kind of not rolling hills, but there's some elevation change, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then on the back, the very back piece of this property is a fence line, and then when it backs up to the next piece of property that's there, that's a very densely wooded area. So we pull up, we're driving in a truck, and we pull up and we're shining that wood line, and one of my cousins says, "Wait, stop, I see some eyes." So he pulls up some binoculars, and he's looking, and he was like, "Okay, I see it." We thought it might have been a raccoon, a possum, something up in the tree about, I don't know, man, I'm going to say somewhere between 6 and 8 feet,
Okay.
something like that.
Pretty
We're-
high up there.
Yeah, we're backed off from that.
She would have thought it was a raccoon right away or something.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
we didn't want to get close enough to where whatever it was,
You
we
spook it.
We didn't want to spook it. Then we're just shining with the spotlight to see if we do get some eyes, see if we get some shine back. So when we do, my cousin pulls up those binos and he's looking, and we're like, "Yeah, what is it? What is it? Let's go get it. What is it?" And he's like, "Bro, you don't want to know what this is. You don't want to see it." And
Wow.
yeah, you're pretty intrigued at that point. You're like, what do you
Now
mean
I
don't
wanna
wanna-"
see it.
Yeah, you have to see it, right?
Now you're fighting for the binos.
Yeah, fighting for the binos. We had one set of binos and we had one rifle with a scope, and I think the rifle was a 22-250. So I got one cousin looking through binos, the other cousin looking through the rifle scope, and he's looking for it in the rifle scope. He couldn't find it. He finally found it, and there was a total of, I think, 5 of us. So when my cousin with the rifle that found it, he seen it, you know, and he was like, oh, shit, what is this? You know, we're like, don't shoot till we know what this thing is. So the binos are getting passed around, and when I see it, I'm going to tell you what I remember that I seen. I seen a tall, large, bipedal animal, being, person, thing. I don't know.
Describe
But-
it, man.
So it was somewhere between, you got to think, we're 100, 150 yards off Shining, right?
Okay.
And this is at night, probably, I don't know, midnight-ish, somewhere around there. And I mentioned that fence line, so imagine this thing being on the same side of the fence line I am, but right behind it is a 5-strand barbed wire fence, thick, dense, wooded area behind it.
This is a property line.
A property line.
Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly, property line. So, is looking through the binos, see this big, tall, hairy, not overly hairy, but somewhat, you know, basically hairy ape-looking.
Hairier than me.
Close.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Like in the winter. Hairier than me in the winter. Like summertime, I'm
Yeah, you're
you
pretty
know,
smooth in.
I'm getting treated.
Pretty
Yeah,
smooth
you
in.
got your beach body going on.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But this thing wasn't totally black either. A lot of black characteristics, but I remember seeing some like darker brown, and the most like prominent thing I remember seeing is like a gray patch or stripe, like kind of coming across its like left shoulder down to the right rib cage almost.
Bro, you saw Chewbacca, bro.
Yeah.
So we said
or what was the one from Spaceballs?
that was better. I
Yeah,
can't remember.
I can't remember his name.
My
Angel was here. He'd be able to
My
tell.
favorite thing of that is comb the desert.
Yeah.
And they got all the combs out there. So as we're looking at this thing, we're all just kind of in awe, staring at it.
Meatball.
Meatball? Was it Meatball?
Maybe I'm getting movies mixed up. All right, keep going.
I don't remember. Yeah, we're all staring at it, and I remember my cousin telling my other cousin with a rifle, like, "Don't shoot, man! Like, don't shoot this thing. Don't shoot."
Right.
And as we're shining that light, it's like the light is hurting his eyes, and we'll catch a glimpse of, you know, the eye reflecting back at some time. And, you know, typically you see animals out there a lot, and when you see their eyes, they all have, like, the same color eyes. And when you hear Bigfoot stories, you're always like, oh, I had big, red, beady eyes. I don't remember any red eyes. I remember a white shine back, like it was just white. You know what I mean? It almost looked like
Like a reflection of the light.
A reflection of the light.
That's fair.
It was more like that. Not a green, not a red,
orange,
not
yeah.
orange. It was white.
What was it doing? Just staring back at you?
Yeah,
or-
so it was just standing there staring, and as we would shine the light, it would like duck its head down, like the light was hurting its eyes, and just kind of like glance up sometimes and look up. And we just sat there and stared at it for a few minutes, passing those binoculars around. Then the craziest shit I ever happened and seen in my life. We still didn't know what we were looking at until this thing just like stepped over this 5-strand barbed wire fence, 2 legs, disappeared off into the. I mean, as soon as you step over,
Straddling the fence.
just
Like
turn
walking over
You're
it.
Bro,
talking
it-
like walking over an extension cord laying on the ground. Just
like stepping
turn
out the
about and
bathtub.
go.
Stepping out the damn.
Stepping out the bathtub. You know what I mean?
to a 5-string barbed wire fence.
5-strand barbed wire fence. Just
Jeez.
stepped over it, man. And we turned tail. We hauled ass back home. We told our parents and our grandparents. We used to have every Sunday we'd have these big family Sunday dinners, and that's when we go out, you know, all of our little shenanigans doing things. And that's what it was. All of our families, everybody was there, parents, grandparents, other cousins. And we hauled ass back to the house, and we're like, we seen Bigfoot, you know, and they're all like, no, y'all didn't see, you know, all the wives and stuff, aunts and things like that. And then, you know, dad.
So were people trying to convince you it was something else? And did they mention it could have been this, it could have been that?
Well, that's the crazy thing. It was when we got back, like, it seemed like all the men at that point started sharing stories about, like, yeah, we know he's out here. You know, we've seen this and we've seen that and experienced this and experienced that. And we were just in shock. Like, nah, come on, y'all are yanking our chain now. We're trying to tell you we just seen something, and they're just kind of nonchalantly like, yeah, we know, we got it, cool, like it's an everyday damn occurrence, you know.
Wow.
And so, kind of after that is why I stayed kind of like chill about it.
Didn't say much about it.
I didn't say much about it, but I will tell you, I never felt threatened. I hunted those woods, that area in the dark by myself as a kid, you know, young teenager, kid. I never felt threatened or scared about it.
So the stories you're hearing from that area, there's more to add to it. Like your family and the elders, they had something to say.
So this
To
is
kind of say, yeah, we know, man.
if you look at Southeast Oklahoma on a map and you see how much rural area and how much room there is to roam out there, and then if you start digging a little bit deeper, you're going to see that it is like a Bigfoot tourist trap in that area. And I say it's a tourist trap in that area because there's been so many sightings, so many experiences, and now they just got tourist shit all over the place for Bigfoot.
You think everybody's just tired of it? It's just like, yeah, we see what we know what you saw, and we probably saw it too, but don't make a big deal. We're just gonna leave it be.
Could be, and that's exactly what it seemed like when we got back home. The older men in the family were kind of like that, and a lot of people don't want to bring attention to it because in that area, not a lot of people live in that area, and you don't want people coming, from the cities. And that's the big word down there. Dallas is the big word down there because everybody from Dallas comes to Southeast Oklahoma to hunt. They come up there to fish. They come up there to hunt Bigfoot or whatever. So it's just, a bunch of city folk trying to get out to the country. But when they come out there, the residents of the area, they don't like it.
It wreaks havoc on their way of living up there.
It does. Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, that is
So,
fascinating, bro.
That's my experience. Pretty crazy, but Ben, I know you have a freaking experience too, something, in the cryptid world, but I shared mine. I think you may have to do the same.
All right, so my story is obviously, again, just like your story, there was somebody with me, and I actually got. I'll tell my story, and then I'll have him call in or something. We'll get him to tell his side of the story. So I was hunting down in South Texas with my good friends down at Team Unexpected, and we're down there hog hunting at night, winter, cold night. And down in South Texas, you gotta clear senderos, bro.
Yeah, it's thick, man.
Thick,
The
It's a
sendero,
whole different country that I didn't know it was like that till we went down there.
Yeah.
And when Ben says it's thick, for those of you that haven't been to South Texas, it's thick, and it's like anything and everything down there will poke you, prod you, stick you, cut you,
bite you, sting you.
Different planet.
And I'm down there, get invited to go do a hog hunt at night, and we had been at deer camp, hanging out during the day, and just kind of knowing we were going to get out there and have a long night. We're just kind of prepping, just kind of, all right, man.
Loafing around, saving energy.
We finally get out there, and we're sitting in the blind, and we've been out there for a few hours, just kind of, it's cold, so we're just kind of leaning back with our arms crossed, looking out the blind, and rifles rested down on the side, and got your night vision kind of, adapting and stuff, and all of a sudden I hear a thump on top of the blind, and we're like, damn, what was that? We both look up, and we're like, I don't know, man. But we hear, like, clawing, like, scratching. So I thought at first, like, there had already been, like, rats and everything kind of get in there, bees, whatever. I thought it was a rat. But then I hear, like, the clawing, and Lou says, like, and I think it's an owl, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, at this point, we see this bird fly down off the top of the blind, straight down the sendero, and it lands probably about 30 yards in front of us. Mind you, we're about 70 yards, 75 yards from the feeder, and that's where I was kind of focusing on for the hunt, right?
So this bird flew right down in your lane of vision,
Perfectly,
right by the feeder,
perfectly right in front of us, and it just landed right there. And as it landed, that's where we confirmed, like, hey, this is an owl. Oh yeah, it was an owl. You know, so at this point, we had, I can't remember if I held up the rifle because I was night hunting, and he had lent me one of his thermals, so we were hunting with thermals, and I picked up the rifle and I look, and when I look, bro, I see this thing start walking, and it's walking away from us. Is it creepy? No, it's an owl. It's walking. Owls walk, right? But it was just kind of something that caught me off guard, was the way it was kind of like bipedal.
Like a penguin?
Yeah, it was funny and creepy, but it was more, at that point, it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like,
especially after sitting out in a blind at night for hours.
yeah.
Like
You get a little delirious sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So then I'm looking at it, and I'm kind of like, just, I look over at Lou, and he looks at me like, what do you see? And he picks up a mono, and he's looking, his eyes look serious.
Like a thermal mono?
Yeah. Bro, when I tell you, I'm going to tell you something, you're going to think I'm stupid or I'm crazy. This thing's walking away from us, and as it's walking away, it's getting bigger.
What normally happens when something walks away?
It's
smaller.
It
It's
gets smaller.
smaller, right? But this thing's growing.
Now, you might ask, no, it couldn't have been walking away from me. There's no way. All right? But we've hunted this area so many times. It's not a big piece of property. It's got about 4 or 5 senderos with 4 or 5 blinds on there. We pick a blind that night.
And Louis knows it.
Louis knows it like the back of his hand. Before we're hunting, we're sitting there talking like we know this little sendero, and there's about 3 game trails. We were like, it's gonna come out of one of these, you know. So we had the terrain association to mark out how far it's going.
In that environment, if there's not a trail or a sendero or a trail, it's too thick. They're gonna have a hard time moving. You're gonna hear it.
You've been down there. You've seen the predominant game trails, those heavy traffic areas, and you're like, dude, I see the traffic here. You know. At this point, he's looking at it. I'm looking at it, and that's my story, bro. I think it was a creepy owl. Was it a lechuza? Did I see it shift change, or take shape of a woman? No. But it could have been a lechuza.
So when you say it was getting bigger, was it getting broader or taller? So when you say big, was the owl walking and maybe his wings were just coming out?
No, he was getting bro.
Okay.
Taller. Like exponentially taller.
How tall did you see this thing get?
If I was judging it from how far I was, you're gonna think I'm fucking crazy, bro.
I mean,
yeah.
You've seen an owl grow.
I think this thing got like 3.5 feet tall.
Damn.
Is that normal for an owl?
Don't
Hell
ask
no,
me.
it's
I
not.
just told a Bigfoot story, so don't ask me.
Robert, what do you think, man?
No, they generally, every time, we talk about this all the time. You look at something through a thermal, and the farther away it is, not only is it harder to identify, but
Depth perception's all off.
perception's off. You don't know if you want to give it an extra 50 yards in the scope or
You want
something.
to hear the weirdest part? All right, so it flew down. It's walking away. It's getting taller as it's walking away. I don't care what anyone says. It was walking away. Someone's going to argue it was walking towards you. That's why it got bigger, bro. Terrain association.
You're like, you didn't see what don't tell me what I did see.
Don't listen to me. Listen to Lou's story. I got with me Captain Lou from Team Unexpected Outfitters. We did call you for a reason, and I wanted to kind of, add to this segment we're doing, the strange and unexplained encounters. We had a strange and unexplained encounter, and I'm going to let you tell your side of the story. So this is about that one time we saw that creepy owl. Call it a lechuza, call it what you want, but it was definitely something creepy. It caught us off guard, and I'll let you tell the side. You tell your side of the story, man.
All right, so it's a Saturday night. It's around 1 a.m. We're out there. We're in my blind on the bottom. It gets a little colder down there because it's a little bottom creek bed and stuff like that. So it's about 1 a.m. It's around that time where you're like, oh, I think a little stretch, trying to relax a little bit more and just probably take a snooze. And then all of a sudden, we hear this boom. I'm like, oh, it's one of those where you're just there and it's just like gets you like, what the hell was that? It's quiet. and you hear that, you're like, oh God. First thing you're thinking about is Jeepers Creepers. What the hell? So we're there, and it's like, oh God. And I'm like, what's that? He's like, I don't know. Maybe it was a bird or something. Probably an owl. Maybe an owl or something.
Yeah, because you could hear like the claws. Remember?
yeah, yeah. It was like scratching. I
You
was
thought
like,
it was a rat or something.
I thought it was a rat or something getting in the blind. I was like, man, he's just doing his thing, whatever. But then all of a sudden, I tilt down because you got to see a little bit because I have a full open viewing. It's not like one window here, one way. It's like a full window. And then all of a sudden, I go like this, and I can see because you can't hear the owl go down because that's how they sneak up because they're predators like that on their prey. And he goes like this, and I'm like, oh, there it goes right there. And I'm guessing it lands there, so I'm like, damn. So we get the thermals out, we're looking, and like, oh yeah, that is a little owl. And I give the thermal to Ben, and I'm like, here, you take a look at it. Tell me what you think. And I'm over here thinking like, it's probably something else. And get it to Ben. I'm looking at him, and I'm like, yes, and I can see in his eye over here, and I'm looking, his eye gets wide, and I'm like, oh shit. I said, oh damn. I said, what is that? So I have these little binoculars. They're day and night. And I bust them out, and I put them right here on the top, and I'm zooming in. I turn it higher, and I'm like, oh, that's a little baby owl. That's nice. But man, I haven't seen one of those here in a minute. It's been a while. You can hear them, but it's like, man, I haven't seen one in a minute. That's cool. I'm like, take a look at it. He takes a look at it, and it was nice. All of a sudden, I get it back, and all of a sudden, you see it. I see it turn around, and you see it doing little hippity
Like a
hoppity.
hobble.
It's like a hobble. It's like walking away. As it's walking away, it's getting bigger. I'm like, holy. I was like, what the hell is this, man?
Dude, I thought I was going crazy, man. And I remember us kind of passing the thermal back and forth,
Yeah.
and your eyes got big. You looked at me, and we just kind of gone back and forth like we couldn't believe our eyes, dude.
I'm telling you, I was freaked out. I was like, what in the heck is going on? I said, damn. I said, God, we got to get some hogs, man. I said, I'm really tired. I'm really tired. I said, it's 2 nights in a row. I said, I'm tired. I can't do it.
Bro, I mean, I don't want to spin the story. We saw what we saw. We saw it walking away, and we used terrain association as it's getting further away because we knew there was game trails that worked their way into the sendero at different intervals towards the feeder. So we knew, and we were sitting there talking, and was like, man, if something's gonna come out, it's gonna come out through that game trail, or this game trail. We had talked about it, we had mapped it out. So eyes peeled, kind of looking, like you said, it was cold, so we're sitting there with our arms crossed, kind of looking. And when we get that noise, it startled me. I was like, dude, what's that? And I was like freaking out because it was a good thump, man. Just and we were like, and if you don't, I want to say we even tried to like stick our head out and look, and like, I ain't getting out there. You were like, I don't know, and then it's probably now.
Oh man.
So, but dude, I thought I was going crazy, and I'm so glad you're kind of confirming what I saw, dude. Because I told them that this thing's walking away, dude, and it's getting taller.
Yeah.
It's getting taller.
Yeah.
And that's why it was enough time for us to kind of pass the thermal back and forth. I mean, we knew what we saw, bro.
And that hop was the freaky part. It was just going back. I was like, oh hell no.
Yeah, it was just like wings down, just hopping like a walk, like a bipedal walk. I mean, they're bipedal creatures, but it would just it caught us by that fear, that eerie feeling. Like
you get that chill down your back, and you're like, oh God, like damn. I'm like, what is this? So yeah, crazy.
And again, not to spin the story, we saw an owl identified, right? We saw it getting bigger as it's walking away. I did see that, and I swear, when that thing finally flew off, bro, the wingspan of that thing, I don't know, maybe 4 feet wide. I don't know, and maybe that's typical. Well, how would you say how big was?
I would say probably about the same thing because as I was looking at it, I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was trying to see it, and I was like, did that just really get bigger? I'm like, you got to be shitting me. I'm like, no way. And I'm like,
I swear that thing happened. And I'm not saying that it took shape of a woman or to add to the Lechuza legend. It just looked like a big. It looked at first sight it was an owl, and we identified it. Oh, it's an owl. And then on thermal, it was distinctively an owl. And the only creepy thing about it is as it's walking away from us. And you know, if I'm not mistaken, we got to deer camp back that night, and we were telling, you know, Gibson, we were telling the guys, and everybody was like, I was probably walking towards you, dude. And we are like, no, dude, like, bro, we're hunters. We know, like, as guides, you know if it's going towards you or not, bro. I mean, give me a little credit, you know?
Yeah, no, that was definitely it was a funny talk around at camp. They were kind of making fun of us, but
Got me.
So let's just say that truth or myth doesn't matter. Owls are creepy, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
And whatever you see or what, but see, that's a good kind of like wrapping or to wrap up our story of what you see and what you encounter.
Yeah.
Sometimes your eyes do play tricks on you, and sometimes at the end of the day, you saw what you saw, and that's your story, man.
It's going to be your perception of what you've seen, and you're going to make your mind up off what you've seen,
Off
You
your
know what I mean?
experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're doing today. We're giving you guys perspective, right? We're not giving you trying to debunk or confirm. We'll let you decide whether you believe or you don't believe.
Well, let's go over some of the things of why you would believe and why you wouldn't, and then we, you know,
Wrap it up.
Why
I want to
would-
put it. I want to put this. I want to put this away, bro.
We
I
gotta
want to
put it
close
behind-
this chapter.
put it behind
This has
us.
been, there's been some things happen, dude.
Yeah, yeah, we're ready to get back to
So
the
let me
hunting and
start with.
fishing.
I know. Let me start with what I believe would make me 100% believe. Straight up, hard evidence right here in front of us.
So, what about picture and video? And I say picture and video for a reason.
Not anymore, man.
Not anymore because of the number of hoaxes that are just so good.
Bro, look at the internet right now with all the AI and all these videos flying all over. I mean, Bigfoot's all over my feed, which I am not mad about. I'll watch that all day.
Well, 20 years
Bro,
ago,
you've got people graduating with degrees with papers being written by AI. I mean,
that's facts.
I mean, and that's just verbiage,
that's
Sure.
true.
you know.
20, 30 years ago, if you seen picture or video, would it make you a believer?
Yes, in my book.
Yeah, man.
Yes,
because
because
back
you
then,
didn't
that's how we
have-
confirm things, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the point I'm making is there's also
There's been
What-
pictures and there's been
yes, and with today's technology, we keep saying it would make it easier to prove it. But in a lot of ways it's going to make it harder to prove it because people aren't going to believe it because of the AI,
Right.
because of
Yeah.
you know all the
But isn't there
hoaxes.
ways for like professionals to authenticate?
Do you think many professionals give a shit to authenticate a Bigfoot video because
you're
they're
right.
probably not they're not going to waste their time on that.
Well, I tell you what, I don't feel like we wasted our time, and I hope we didn't waste your time because we had a lot of people interested in this, and they said, "Man, talk about it. Let's do it." We did our best. We brought in a Bigfoot investigator.
You're not on your camera.
Okay.
Got
Good
it.
call.
There he is.
Let's try that again. We brought in a Bigfoot investigator. We brought in an eyewitness account right here.
That's me.
You know, Jimmy told his story. We even had cousin Elwood call in and tell his story, and Robert and I got to witness
The
that here.
story was told slightly different, but the points that you made, the
You and I
eyes,
were counting the confirmations.
Yes, the passing, the scopes, the
Yes.
down to the caliber of the rifle, to the way he walked away. There was
To
so
the
many
part of the land, and they described it identically.
Exactly.
Brother, you guys, and I know, guys, you might be saying, well, that's easy to do. You could talk to the dude. Like, man,
I haven't talked to him in so long, especially about that too. Like we haven't talked about that in so long.
and I can confirm that because Jimmy and I, as business partners and guys who do a podcast together and guys who go out and hunt and fish together every day, and we're out there doing, work on the ranch. I mean, we talk so much that our wives probably get tired of it. But I have never heard you talk about, I talked to my cousin or I did this and that. Dude, I know things about you and you know things about me that we don't talk to anyone.
Yeah.
And you've never mentioned that. So I'm going to give you guys that. We got no reason to lie to you anyway, but just to kind of add to the validity of that.
Right.
But man, again, I think maybe we can wrap this up and say, hey, you decide.
You decide.
You decide if it's you believe or you don't believe. And if you do believe, we encourage you to go into those groups like South Texas Bigfoot Investigations. Share your experiences. Go learn from theirs. Feel comfortable talking about it to people who are also comfortable talking about it.
Exactly.
Sounds kind of like an AA meeting.
Yeah.
It's a BF meeting, a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think that there's any of these stories or anything like that? We're talking about it being pretty far south Texas. Think there's any stories or any people that got encounters like maybe down in Mexico?
I would think so. I mean,
El Squacho.
El
El
Squacho.
Pata Grande.
El Pata Grande.
I mean, you never know. You know,
Yeah,
they're all over the state. You've seen some of these maps.
They have them in Canada too. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not Bigfoot or sightings. You know, could be. I don't know.
I don't know if there's any of these folks out there, y'all watching us from down in Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah, give us a shout. We speak Spanish.
That's right.
We'll take a story or two.
Jimmy can speak Spanish, but verdad, Jimmy?
See?
Hey, there you go.
But yeah, pretty interesting stories, and just to hear their encounters. It's, I don't know. I can't sign it off quite yet. I'm still on the fence. I'm not gonna say yes, but I'm not gonna say no.
You know, dude. I seen with my own eyes something that I couldn't explain, and I'm still on the fence. And that's what's crazy about it, because, like we were saying, there's all the reasons that you may think it's real. That's one of the reasons I may think it's not real, is because there's not hard evidence with all the trail cameras, thermal imaging, whether it's a scope, a mono, a drone.
Maybe they've got thermal drones now. They've got drones that you can stab 18 batteries in it, and that sucker will fly for 10 hours. You know, it's amazing, the technology. Why don't we have hard evidence? We don't know.
Well, could be because what Ben mentioned earlier. I mean, there could be orbs, portal. I don't know. That gets just too deep, you know. But
hey,
do you believe in angels? That's all I'm gonna say. Have you seen one?
And we encourage you, if you want to dive deep, by all means, you go ahead.
Please do.
We're gonna wrap this up. We're closing the chapter. We can't guarantee we'll never hear or see something. But for now, our investigation is complete, and we're going to turn it back to fishing and hunting. Welcome back to the Cast and Blast podcast. This is a fishing and hunting podcast. We had fun with a special segment called Strange and Unexplained.
And we've determined it's inconclusive.
Yeah. Agreed.
Well, wrap us up, guys. We're going to we're going to close this chapter, and I'm glad to do it.
All right.
Right. Well, I will say on my behalf, I want to give a quick shout out, because evidently I guess I've been gaining a little bit of popularity with my Okies out there. So shout out to all my Oklahoma peeps out there, and y'all keep watching us and keep sharing it. We do enjoy it. And if you guys like what we're doing here, again, click that like and that share button. That's what helps us continue to do what we do.
Facts.
We're doing it just because we're just three crazy guys that don't have anything to do better in the evenings, but we enjoy it, and we want to see that you're enjoying it. And by the way, us seeing that you enjoy it, hit that like button and share. Bring us some new folks, some new ears, some new things to talk about, and we'll always be here.
That's right. And if you ever want to be on the Cast and Blast podcast, just hit us up at info@castandblastoutfitters.com. Come sit down with us, talk to us, whether it's hunting, fishing, cryptids, Bigfoot, whatever. Just shoot the breeze, man. We're here local. To the Central Texas area, but we'll accept anybody that would like to come here and be a guest and have fun. So
For sure.
With that, we hope you enjoyed this little mini series. You know, our summer mini series of strange and unexplained encounters. All right, I think that's it. We love y'all. Thanks for watching. Like, share, comment, subscribe. We'll see y'all later.
I'm packing my bags. I'm going to go find Pata Grande down in Mexico. I'll report back.
He's there.